guys, I'm Nikki Sizemore. Welcome to my kitchen. Today I'm going to show you a simple ratatouille recipe that I think you're going to love. Ratatouille is one of my favorite ways to use up a bounty of summer produce. I first learned how to make it a million years ago back in culinary school. We had to cook each vegetable to perfection separately and then combine them all at the end. It was delicious and it took a million years to make. These days, I ain't got time for that. So I developed this simple, streamlined version, and guess what? All of the vegetables get spread out onto one sheet pan with a few secret ingredients that go right into the oven, and you end up with a succulent, luscious ratatouille that is just as delicious as that traditional version, but 100 times easier to make. Now you can serve this ratatouille in a million different ways. It's a delicious side dish to just about anything. I also love to spoon it over my creamy grits. I will link to that video below. You've got to try that. But one of my favorite ways to serve it is to grill or toast up slices of bread, spread on creamy, cool cottage cheese, and then layer that ratatouille right on top. And we're gonna kick things up a notch today by using Hood cottage cheese with cracked pepper. I love this cottage cheese and it works perfectly with these ratatouille toasts. Thank you to Hood Cottage Cheese for partnering with me on this video and making it possible. I can't wait to share this simple ratatouille recipe with you guys, so let's head to the kitchen. And be sure to hit that subscribe button below to get all of my easy, healthy, family-friendly, and naturally gluten-free recipes.
The first thing we need to do is prep our veggies. I'm using a red onion, bell peppers, eggplant, and zucchini. Now, when you're chopping your vegetables, you want to cut them into approximately the same sized pieces, about 1 to 1.5 inch pieces. That way they will cook evenly and at the same rate. For the zucchini, I just cut it lengthwise into quarters and then chop it from there. For the eggplant, cut it into thick slabs and then you can slice those and then turn and dice them. Now for some garlic. I'm going to keep things really easy and just peel the garlic cloves but leave them whole. And I'm using 6 garlic cloves. They will gently infuse the vegetables with their flavor. Pile the veggies onto a parchment-lined baking sheet and add 1 pint of grape tomatoes along with some fresh herbs. I've got a sprig of rosemary and 2 sprigs of fresh thyme. Drizzle everything with olive oil. And then I am adding a tablespoon of balsamic vinegar. This isn't traditional, but it's going to provide some sweetness and some acid, balancing out all of the flavors. Season the vegetables generously with salt and pepper, and then toss them all to evenly coat. You could toss them in a bowl and then transfer them to a baking sheet, but hey, I don't want to do that extra dish. Now throw this pan into a 400-degree oven. The vegetables will take about 35 to 40 minutes to cook, depending on their size, and you want to get in there twice to stir them up during the cooking process. Meanwhile, I'm going to snip some fresh basil from my garden. When the veggies come out of the oven, immediately transfer them to a large bowl. You can remove those herb sprigs. And now we're going to add the basil. You want to add the basil at the end because if you add it at the beginning, it kind of dulls out and loses its flavor. We want that bright, fresh green flavor at the end. I'm also adding more olive oil, more balsamic vinegar, and more salt and pepper. Now this is key because we want these vegetables to marinate together. This is going to allow all of the flavors to kind of marry and meld and become even more delicious. As I mentioned, there are a million ways to serve this, but I like to rub toasted bread with garlic, spoon on this Hood cottage cheese with cracked pepper. It's creamy and cooling with a hint of that pepper spice in the finish. It's delicious. And then pile on this simple ratatouille. You can serve the ratatouille warm or at room temperature. In fact, it gets even better with time, so you can even make it the day before. And this is such a healthy, delicious meal, really any time of year, but especially in the summer. It's also a beautiful appetizer. You can spread out some toasted bread, the cottage cheese, and the ratatouille, and just let your guests build their own crostini.
Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I can't wait to hear what you think about this simple ratatouille recipe. You can get a ton of other recipes on my website or right here on my YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe below, and I will see you next time.